The killing of law enforcement officials in this country is one of the most underappreciated and underreported media issues out there. Police officers sign up to put themselves in harm's way, and that does make it different. But it shouldn't make it any different when it comes to them getting killed. They'd better have the book thrown at them. I mean, a lot of these people end up dead, which is fine with me. There was a shooting at a Dallas ICE field office this morning, and it was a targeted shooting. And my first reaction to it was people aren't going to talk about the law enforcement side of this, meaning law enforcement being targeted. It's going to get political. And it has gotten political. And the good news is that there were no ICE agents who were killed. There was one person killed. It seems that person was a detainee. The shooter also killed himself and appears to have engraved anti-ICE language on a shell casing. So it's clear the person was targeting ICE. When I presumed that there were going to be casualties on law enforcement, I prepared some thoughts and I did some research, and it got me even angrier. The killing of law enforcement officials in this country is one of the most underappreciated and underreported media issues out there. When I first heard about this, of course, it sort of conjured up images to me of other shootings that have happened this year of law enforcement. And I started thinking, okay, I want to talk today about the law enforcement officials who've been targeted, who've been killed around the country. And I was stunned to find there isn't a place, a media entity that is actually tracking the killing of our law enforcement officers. The only place that seems to be doing it in a methodical way is a not-for-profit called the Officer Down Memorial Page in memory of an officer who was killed. And this website tracks all of the deaths of law enforcement officials around the country. And I was familiar with it, but when I saw, as I tried to do my research on this, that, for example, USA Today had an article about the number of law enforcement deaths this year, and they're citing the Officer Down Memorial Page. Now, by the way, bravo to this page for doing the work. But on the other side, there are tons of media entities talking about police-involved shootings. The Washington Post has had a tracker for 10 years of all the police-involved shootings, what race the people were the other people armed or not. But when you want to try and find something on the officers who were killed, you got to go to this not-for-profit that's doing the work. It's outrageous. And, I started thinking about the fact that there have been 2 Texas facilities, ICE facilities, that have been targeted this July. A police officer was killed. Actually, a police officer was shot at an ICE detention facility in Alvarado in July. The gunman opened fire at the entrance of the Border Patrol Sector Annex in McAllen, Texas. I don't care what you think about the ICE raids. I don't. Not when it comes to shooting at law enforcement. And my problem is that very often we focus on civilians who have been shot. I mean, look, Charlie Kirk is a great example. He's someone who was also very well known and very famous. Even the Minnesota Democrats who were shot or killed earlier this year. Story gets a lot of attention, not as much as Charlie Kirk, but still got a lot of attention. Why? Because they're politicians. And I get it. Police officers sign up to put themselves in harm's way. And that does make it different. But it shouldn't make it any different when it comes to them getting killed. They are still mothers and fathers and sons and daughters who signed up to do the hard work, and for whatever reason, their deaths often get marginalized, particularly in the media. This comes on the heels of last week. It was a week ago. 3 police officers were shot, 2 wounded in southern Pennsylvania, York, Pennsylvania. 5 police detectives and a deputy sheriff had gone to arrest a guy suspected of stalking, prowling, and trespassing. The suspect, Matthew Ruth, according to the DA, opened fire on the officers with an AR-15 style rifle. The 4 detectives closest to him were hit. 2 bravely staggered to cover, returned fire. Gunman then went after a 5th detective and the deputy. Came a firefight. 3 detectives and the suspect ended up dead. The 4th detective and the deputy were critically wounded. Now, I think that's a really important story. These detectives were going to protect someone. Their families didn't expect they were going to be getting the call that day. Some of you are going to say that this is a right-leaning, whatever, MAGA editorial. I will tell you that the people who are using these kinds of things for political gain should be condemned. I am not talking about politics. I mean, look, another officer killed this year was police officer David Rose. He responded to a guy firing at the windows of the CDC a couple weeks ago. Law enforcement arrived. The guy starts firing at the officers. Officer Rose was a Marine Corps vet. He'd served with the DeKalb County Police Department for almost a year. He had a pregnant wife, 2 children. Again, the list goes on of law enforcement killed in the line of duty. And look, I am relieved that no ICE officers were killed today. We don't know exactly who the person is who died, and obviously that death is a tragedy as well. But this organization was targeted because they are law enforcement. And as I read through the Officer Down memorial page, again, the only media entity that seems to track in an organized way the killings of law enforcement officials in this country, it is heartbreaking. And look, the numbers are down from last year. That's a good thing. It doesn't change the reality that we don't spend enough time appreciating law enforcement injured or killed in the line of duty. I mean, again, I'm just scrolling through. I mean, apparently there've already been over 30 law enforcement officials killed this year by gunfire. There's a lot of other causes. It's, I think, close to 70 if any kind of deaths in the line of duty, including like automobile crash, et cetera. But Deputy Sheriff Daniel Weston from the Morrow County Sheriff's Office in Ohio, gunfire, Monday, May 26, 2025. This is all from this year. Under Sheriff Brandon Gade, Phillips County Sheriff's Office in Kansas, June 27, 2025. These are people of different backgrounds, different races, different genders, who have one thing in common. They signed up to do a very difficult and dangerous job. And I didn't want to lose the opportunity to say that I care and it matters a lot. And I'm not just going to write off law enforcement deaths as, well, this is what they sign up for. No, you don't. You don't sign up to get killed. No, you don't. So taking all the politics out of all this stuff, anyone who targets law enforcement, I don't care what the reason, I don't care what the law enforcement organization is, they better have the book thrown at them. I mean, a lot of these people end up dead, just fine with me. But anyway, a final, just appreciation for the Officer Down memorial page. They do a really good and effective job of memorializing all the deaths of law enforcement. And if you care about this stuff the way I do, I highly recommend going to that page.